I'm going to show you how to do these really pretty little beads with a goldwork edging around them. So I'm going to show you on these little pearls here. Now you can do this around lots of different things. You can do it around beads. These ones are flat gemstones here, sequins, all sorts of stuff. But the principle for them all is the same. So I'll show you how to do that. Now what we're going to do is, it's 2 stages to it. So we're going to put the centre bead or gem down first, and then we're going to put a piece of goldwork metal around the edge. Now this piece of metal needs to be exactly the right length. So you can do it the mathematical way. So the circumference is 2 pi r, like that. So you can work it out mathematically. So you work out the radius of your bead or your gemstone, and then use the equation to find the circumference. Or if you don't want to do it the mathematical way, you can just get rid of that. And we'll do it by eye. Have a go by eye, which is the way I'm going to do it now. So I'm going to sew my pearl on first. So I've got one here. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. This is a pearl sewn on. So I'm going to do one here. Now I've got a double thread here. You want to sew these gems and these pearls on really securely so they don't come off. So I'm using a double thread. And I'm just going to thread that onto the needle, slide it to the bottom, lie the thread down, and go down the other side of the bead so that the hole is going across the bead. So we come up one side and down the other, and just to make that extra secure, I'm going to come up again on that side, through and down again, and that just means 4 threads going through the middle of that now. So I'm going to come up again on the edge of that pearl. Now I'm coming up just a little bit away from the pearl now, because we need to allow for the diameter of the gold. So I'm going to use some bright check pearl. So I've got silver and a gold here just to show you the difference. You can use a smooth pearl if you like. There's a smooth one, so you can see that's nice and shiny. This has got texture to it. The bright check is more forgiving than the smooth, so I suggest you have a go in the bright check first and the smooth later. So we'll get rid of the smooth. So if you worked it out mathematically, you'll know exactly how long your piece of bright check needs to be. I haven't, so I'm going to do it by feel. So I'm going to wrap it roughly. It's a little bit fiddly this, but once you've done it once, you can measure from that. So I'm going to wrap that around there. Get that thread out of the way. And the small ones are a little bit trickier than the bigger ones for obvious reasons. And I'm just going to go roughly the right length there, and then I'm just going to squeeze it with my finger now, so it's actually sort of damaged the gold, and then I'm going to cut it there, get rid of that bit. So I've got roughly the right length, and we can double check that length now. Now before you do that, cut yourself a second one, because if that is right, then save you measuring again. So I've got a gold one the right length, I'll cut myself another silver one. So cut yourself a little kind of sample one, like so. So always make sure you cut another one before you use the first one, so you've got a measurement. So you've only got to do it once. So I'm going to thread that onto my needle. It's a bit bendy, this one, so all the way through the middle, like so. Slide it down the needle to the bottom, so that hits the bottom of the fabric. And I'm just going to test the length of that. So if you just wrap it round like so, it's a little bit fiddly, and just put the needle on the other side and you can kind of pull it around the needle. There we go. And that's pretty good length. I'm happy with that. It's better that it's a tiny bit looser and it will sit around the bead nicely. If it's too short, it's going to pull up. So if anything, a little bit longer. So I'm happy with that length. If you're not happy with it, if it's a little bit too long and there's a big gap in it, it's easy to fix. So you can just remove your needle, slide that back up just to the top of your needle, slide it off the end of the needle, trim a little bit off, slide it back down, and away you go. So easy to shorten if you need to shorten it. If it's too short, you have to cut it, take it off the needle and cut another one a little bit longer. So it takes a little bit of fiddling that way, but you don't have to do any of that nasty maths. So around the pearl, now where that thread comes out, the needle goes back in to the same hole if you can, and just pull that up slowly. You need to pull it quite tightly to get the two ends to join, like so. And then I just slide the needle out from underneath and slide it back in again, just to do a little finishing stitch, like so. And if you want to, let's just do that down this side as well. And it's not quite meeting. The beauty of using the bright check is you can just fiddle it a little bit, so you can just get the needle in and just push those two ends towards each other, and you get a really nice join. If you try and do that with the smooth pearl, you'll see it. So you need to be very accurate if you're going to use a smooth pearl, where this is a little bit more forgiving. So that's all the way around. So I haven't held that down with anything. If I push it up, it will pop off, but because they're so small, that holds nice and tightly in place. And because it's a round bead, it kind of sits underneath the bead as well, so you don't need two for that one. For these larger ones here, you will need to hold them down. So for the gold one, I've come up at the bottom here. I've measured in the same way all the way around. It's a little bit easier with the bigger one. And then I've got some holding stitches on it. So there's one there, I think, one there. So there's 3 holding stitches, and I've just come up on the outside and over the top. So I'll show you on this one. Now this one here, I've used the same colour thread as I've used for the gem in the middle, and you can see that that shows. So you'll need 2 different threads. So you'll need one that matches the colour that you're putting around the outside. So this is a white one here, just got it a bit tangled. Try that again. Go, let's go around that, that's better, a bit tangled up. So you can just come up on the inside your bead, and you'll notice now I've got a single thread, so it was 2 threads to go through the wire and to go through your bead, but go over with 1 thread because you can see the 2 threads. So the wrong colour in 2 threads, and it really does show up. But if you just use a single colour, just going over the top and down like so. Don't pull it all the way down, you don't want to crush the gold, it's just enough to hold it in place, and then that just holds that down around the cabochon or the bead or the gem, whatever you're using. So for the small ones, you can just go around once and back down the same hole. For the larger ones, you'll need to catch it down, but change your thread, so catch down with a single thread and make sure you use the same colour. Once you've got the principle, it's the same for lots of different types of bead cabochons. So have a little play and see what you can come up with.